Do I hate myself? Stick around to find out. Hi friends, my name is Claire and this is my channel, Whatcha Theory. Here, I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos 3 times a week. Click the like, click the like. Dear friends, all I could muster today was a shower. Not a beautiful makeup look, not a fancy outfit. So I thought it might be a good day to talk about a happy, joyful topic like autism and self-loathing. I wanted to mention first that I know that this is not an original topic. I know that other ASD creators have done this topic before. I don't think that I've watched those videos, so I'm gonna give you just my take on the subject. But I do encourage you to seek out those videos, support your ASD creators on YouTube. It's very important that we all support each other so that we can all be successful and all help each other. As usual, I approach this topic with some trepidation. I'm always trying to figure out how I can discuss difficult topics for our community without making it seem like I'm complaining or seeking pity. I'm trying to think about the best way to say this. I've noticed that usually I come across in the way that I like, and people understand me and accept what I say as my opinion. And this isn't the easiest thing for me to talk about because lots of people have different opinions on the subject of self-hate, self-loathing, and I only can say that I know that many people on the spectrum struggle with this, and it's important for me to bring up these topics so that we can all work through them together. So I hope that you understand that I'm coming from it from that angle and not, woe is me, pity me. I hope you get it. I'm pretty sure you'll get it, but I just thought I should say it. And therefore, let's begin. Do I experience self-loathing as somebody who is on the spectrum? Yes. All the time? A lot of the time. And perhaps it may be hard for people to understand because I know that I am a generally upbeat and positive person, and I know that it may come as a shock to some people that I struggle with liking myself sometimes. Do autistic people on the whole, as a group, as a community, do we struggle with self-hatred, self-loathing? From my understanding, yes. And maybe more than neurotypical people. Hard for me to say because I'm not neurotypical and I've never had that experience. I believe yes, or I would believe yes, in that autism has many comorbidities, depression being one of them, and depressed people tend not to like themselves as much. Hard topics. Pick something easier next time, Claire. So in my mind, I do think that it is more likely that you will experience a greater amount of self-hatred, self-loathing if you are on the autism spectrum. So I have compiled a list of reasons I think that might be, things that I personally struggle with. Another reminder, it's my opinion. I am not a doctor. I'm just a double master. So, take everything I say with a grain of salt, do your own research. You're entitled to feel how you want to feel. This is just what my thoughts were. The first reason I thought one on the spectrum might experience more self-loathing or self-hatred over other people is having an autism diagnosis, especially if you've been late diagnosed and you're kind of grappling with a whole new worldview at a later age. But this can also happen with an earlier diagnosis or any autism diagnosis at all. Being made aware that you've been functioning differently than you had previously thought is a difficult thing to go through, and it's very easy to look back on yourself, your life, your decisions, and not be happy with them. So that was one of the major things that came up for me, not knowing that I was on the spectrum. I don't always love past versions of myself. The second reason that we may experience more self-loathing is depression as a comorbidity, which I had mentioned earlier. So autism has many comorbidities, depression being one of them. Are we more likely to experience depression because we have different neurological pathways in our brains or different connections in our brains? I'm not sure if it works that way, but we are more likely to experience depression. And when one is experiencing depression, having a good self-image, positive self-image, a good feeling of self-worth can be very difficult. Another reason that we might experience self-loathing is because we are the odd one out. We are different than most of the people around us. I've noticed that when I've met other ASD people, they usually tell me that being around other autistic people makes them feel more comfortable and more at ease. But being around neurotypical people, when you're neurodiverse, it's hard not to notice a difference, and it's hard not to compare yourself with other people who are of a different neurotype than you. So that's just another reason that I believe we experience self-loathing. The next reason I was thinking about was not being able as neurodiverse people to keep up pace with neurotypical people or the neurotypical world. It's very difficult for neurodiverse people to keep up the rat race. Is that a good way to put it? We struggle to maintain the pace or neurotypical standard of life. And I don't think that it's necessarily a problem. I think that we can have our own pace, our own standards. But when you're used to being held to that standard and you realize that it's not a possibility for you, it's easy to get down on yourself and not like who you are. Another reason you might be experiencing self-loathing on the spectrum is maybe you're not able to live up to your own impossible high standards without experiencing a meltdown. I know for me, this has been a huge learning opportunity. In the past, I had these huge, lofty expectations for myself, and they just weren't working for me. I was failing at them, and I wasn't understanding why that was. Now I understand that I am of a different neurotype and I need maybe different accommodations, different expectations, and that's completely fine. But as I mentioned, being different can cause self-loathing, not living up to this idea in your mind of what you think your life should look like, what you should look like, what kind of money you should be making, successes that you should be having, education that you should have. It's really easy to get down on yourself, which leads me to another reason that you might dislike yourself as a person on the spectrum. You might feel like a failure, and maybe it might come as a surprise to you to hear me say this, but I often feel like I'm failing my way through life, especially after my diagnosis and all the changes I've been through, and, you know, not going back to a normal job or career, not working in the field I got my education in, not ... You know, not having children in my 30s yet. There's a lot of things that make me feel like I'm just not there. I'm not worthy. I'm trying to think of the right words, but it can really make me get down on myself. Another thing that ASD people deal with that could contribute to this self-loathing is struggling to regulate our emotions, to self-regulate our emotional response to things. It's not easy for us to control our feelings. And if our feelings sway to upset, more likely than not, it's really upset. There's like a struggle for the in-between. So if you are happy or extremely excited, but that can switch very quickly, not necessarily in a bipolar way or how a bipolar person would present, but you're just feeling your emotions a lot stronger and at, you know, usually inappropriate times because of delayed reaction to things. So not being able to regulate our emotions can be frustrating and lead to self-hatred, self-loathing. Something else I was thinking about is poor body image. What do I mean by this? It can be difficult to see yourself as you really are when you're on the spectrum. So for example, you might have some body dysmorphia, or what I'm trying to say is maybe what you're seeing in the mirror isn't what other people are seeing. Or you might struggle with staying healthy or having an exercise routine, or being okay with the way that you look, being comfortable in your own skin because of sensory issues. There's just a lot of room for displeasure and self-loathing in that area. The final thing I was thinking about that could be contributing to self-loathing is struggling to accept help as an autistic person, because ASD people are very independent, self-reliant, and it's hard for us to say or even recognize that we might need assistance. So accepting assistance, even doing that might make you feel like a failure, like you can't handle something on your own. Also, for example, if we're taking medications, it might be hard for us to stay consistent on our medications, or remember to refill our medications, take them regularly. So that can always contribute to change in mood, self-hatred, self-loathing. It's just interesting. This entire subject is interesting because I think on paper, for a lot of autistic people, we look, you know, very successful, or we look a certain way. And you wouldn't know that we were struggling with depression, self-hatred, self-loathing. but I wanted to talk about it, and this kind of brings me into my last point, why talk about it, so that we can all support each other. Sometimes when I discuss, going through depression on this channel, people reach out to me, and I think that's so sweet. I just want everyone to know I have a great support system and I'm doing okay. But I think it's important that we discuss these hard topics about mental health when you're on the spectrum because, well, to be quite frank, as an autistic person, you have a much higher chance of unaliving yourself, to put it in YouTube terms, than other people. And it's really important to take good care of your mental health and understand your mind as well as you can to maintain a positive outlook and to maintain a better mental health for yourself. So what do you think? I know it's kind of a taboo topic, but what the heck, we'll talk about it. I have really improved myself over the past few years as far as my outlook, my mental health, how I'm doing, but I still do struggle from time to time, and I just wanted to put that out there so that you know that you're not alone. I'd love to hear from you in the comments about your experience with self-hatred, self-loathing, as a person on the spectrum, so that others can kind of get an idea what other people are going through. I hope that you have a great day despite this gloomy topic, and I will see you on Friday. Bye!